So is Aaron Rodgers coming back to Pittsburgh in 2026? Starting to look like it's leaning that way. So if you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, here we go again. But we gonna talk about it though. So Brian McFadden did an interview with Pittsburgh Steelers GM Omar Khan, and he had a few things to say. So we gonna listen to him real quick.
Aaron Rodgers had a really, really good year in 2025. What are your expectations for Aaron Rodgers in 2026 in returning or not returning?
So, BMAC, I've talked to Aaron. Coach McCarthy has too. He knows our feelings on him. It was a great experience with Aaron. Aaron was really awesome to have around last year. We learned a lot. I think we went into it last year thinking maybe it was probably just a 1 year thing, and if it turns into more than 1 year, then it's we'll embrace that, and he knows how we feel. We've had some good conversations, and I don't foresee this going like it did last year.
So shout out to Brian McFadden, Omar Khan, saying like they did a really cool, quick interview. This is kind of like draft combine press row, so everybody's doing interviews with GMs. And, you take all of this stuff with a grain of salt. We don't know if, it's a lot of bluffing going on. It's going to be a lot of trade discussions. We're going to see a lot of trades go down just because a lot of these GMs get together and they'll go hang out at St. Elmo's and eat some steaks and drink. And you might see some trades that don't make any sense because some of these guys are a little tipsy. So, that's that as far as that goes. But my thoughts on the Pittsburgh Steelers and what they're doing in 2026. I mean, to me, if they bring Aaron Rodgers back, this is more of the same. You're bringing in a quarterback that is 42, 43 years old. And it's not a diss to Aaron Rodgers. I think he played as well as he was going to play. Nothing shocking about his play. He was going to have moments that were really, really good where he was turning back the clock. He was feeling himself. The aura was there. The swag was there. It was looking like this was 2012, 2013 Aaron Rodgers. But then he turns back into a 42, 43-year-old quarterback. And let's just talk about it. Let's be serious about the situation. Aaron Rodgers has been playing football for a long time. He has been hit a lot. And if you pay attention to Aaron Rodgers, he's not a big guy. He may be, honestly, probably about $190, to be totally honest. And you can tell that he does not want to get hit at this point in his career. He gets rid of the ball in like 2.3 seconds. If it ain't a clean window, he's not throwing it. He didn't really want to go over the middle too much because he doesn't want to hang on to the ball. And like I said, I kind of can understand that because he's an older guy. Those hits take a toll, especially when it gets cold and you got that equipment on. Anybody know when you play football? I didn't play at a high level or anything like that myself, but being a big guy myself, you get hit in that weather and it's 20 degrees out there and you hitting that cold turf or that cold grass. It don't feel good. Now, you're used to it because you're playing the sport. But you got to think about Aaron Rodgers, like I said, being 40-something years old. He does not want to get hit. And if you go back and look at the film, as the season went on, you could tell where he got uncomfortable. Now, does a lot of that have to do with the weapons that they had? They had DK Metcalf on the outside and a bunch of Jags? Possibly, because I'll tell you, cycling through MVS, Adam Thielen, who, just wanted to have his song go somewhere where he go to the playoffs and try to make a run. You had him. You had Calvin Austin, who was in and out of the lineup. They just didn't have a real threat on the outside of DK Metcalf. The running game was iffy. what is the running back's name? I can't even think right now, but he was like the MVP. Kenny Gainwell. He was the MVP of that offense last year because Aaron Rodgers loved to get the ball to him because you know why? Because it was a situation where he could get the ball out quick to him, and it was all about yards after catch for Kenneth Gainwell. And he was a big outlet source for Aaron Rodgers. Like I said, getting the ball out quick, making the defense react where they can't set up. That's a good thing, but that can also be a bad thing because he's not letting plays develop. Because, again, he does not want to get hit. So, I say all of this to say, if you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, I would be frustrated. Because it doesn't sound like the Pittsburgh Steelers have a plan. It seemed like I made this video last year before they got Aaron Rodgers. Pittsburgh Steelers do not have a plan at the quarterback position. And what I would do in this situation is if I don't want to draft a Ty Simpson whose name is coming up at 21, me personally, would I draft Ty Simpson at 21? No. Ty Simpson slipped to the second round, and that was the guy that I was interested in, then that's a possibility. Also, by the way, guys, check out the channel. I just dropped a quick quarterback draft evaluation for dummies video. It's very clean. It's very relatable if you're a casual fan. It can kind of give you some pros and cons to the top quarterbacks game. And it's easy and it's digestible. So if it's something that you guys are interested in, go check that out on the channel. But as far as Ty Simpson goes, Ty Simpson, he started off on fire. Last year in his college season, and he tailed off due to supposedly injuries and everything else that goes with it. But at some point, the Pittsburgh Steelers have to take the Band-Aid off. If they want to be true contenders and not be in purgatory forever, not be the 9-8, 10-17, and get destroyed in the first round of the playoffs, which seems to have been their MO for the last, 6 or 7 years. They're going to have to do something different. I don't think bringing Aaron Rodgers back, whether Mike McCarthy is here or not, or with Mike Tomlin or anybody else, I don't think this is a situation where they're going to be in an AFC Championship game. Now, I could be totally wrong, but I don't see it. I think they get right back to that 10-7 point if you're bringing Aaron Rodgers, because you know what he does well and you know his limitations. Now, do the Pittsburgh Steelers become a run-first team where Aaron Rodgers can play off the play action and he has a whole bunch of time? That means your offensive line is sturdy as ever. They respect the Pittsburgh Steelers run game, and you got the wide receivers and the weapons to work the field. Then you may have somewhat of a different story. But that means that everything has to work. And we know that in this league, you don't get everything to work all the time. Sometimes you have perfect storms, but more than likely, you're not. So, what I would do is I would look at, if you're not enamored with anybody in this class, I would look at, packaging up a 3rd round pick, 4th round pick for a Tyler Badgett or or the Tanner McKees of the world, or whoever it is that you're interested in. And if you want to take a flyer on a Will Levis and you feel like with Mike McCarthy being a quarterback guru and all of these things, that he could work the kinks out of a Will Levis, I think they need to take on more so of a reclamation project. If you don't believe in Will Howard. Now, we just heard with Omar Khan, they talk very glowingly about Will Howard. And I think Will Howard has some great traits. I mean, when you look at Will, he's about 6'4", 6'5". He's pretty mobile. He's pretty accurate. He had a hell of a run to get Ohio State that championship a year ago. And unfortunately, we didn't get a chance to see him in preseason or any type of mop-up duty because he unfortunately got hurt. So, like Omar said, all you got was the film and practice to look at. So maybe that's why they feel like they're not really comfortable with Will at this point. He still was a 6th-round pick. I believe he should have been maybe a 3rd-round pick, but it is what it is. Now, as far as the Mason Rudolph thing goes, you passed the Mason thing. Mason had his chance to have that Geno Smith 2.0 moment, Sam Darnold moment, and he just didn't take advantage of it. I would be very surprised if Aaron Rodgers didn't come back, that Mason Rudolph would even win the job for Will Howard. And I'm just being totally honest. We all remember the run that Mason had a few years ago, which to me saved Mike Tomlin's job at that point. But I just don't think he has it. I think he got to move past that point. So like I said, if I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, or I'm the GM, or I'm Omar Khan, like I said, also too, this is the time where, all the GMs and coaches, they blow a lot of smoke. They gonna say a whole bunch of stuff, but none of that may even be true. They set smoke screens. That's just part of the game. Why would I give you my whole game plan? That means other teams are listening. So we don't know. They may end up going after a Malik Willis. They may end up looking at a Kirk Cousins. What if Aaron Rodgers don't come back? You're not going to tell me that they're comfortable with a Will Howard who was not even healthy last year to really, he ingested all the knowledge from Aaron Rodgers, and I believe that totally. But he just didn't get any type of on-field experience. He didn't even get to some of the practice reps. And I'm going to tell you, with Aaron Rodgers being an older quarterback, he wasn't taking all the snaps in practice. So he probably sat out days, and Mason Rudolph was taking those reps. Well, those would have probably been Will Howard's reps to take last year. So it's almost like Will is coming in as a rookie again, just with a year of watching. You get what I'm saying? So I'm not sure they're really excited about Will. And I just wonder, not that they're not excited. I think they're just cautious. And we all know the Pittsburgh Steelers do not want to go into a rebuild type of situation. They want to stay afloat. They want to rebuild on the fly and, do things of that nature. So do I see them drafting a quarterback? No, I do not. I don't see them drafting a Ty Simpson in the 1st round. Now, could they draft a Drew Allard or a Cole Payton or one of those guys in the 3rd round? Possibly. They could possibly do that, especially if Aaron Rodgers don't come back this year. But more than likely, he's going to come back, I think. But if I'm the GM, I'm looking at a reclamation project. You don't like any of these quarterbacks in this draft where you go trade a 4th-round pick for Will Levis or the guy in Philadelphia, Tanner McKee, or Tyler Badgett in Chicago. I wouldn't just dump my eggs in this draft basket if you're not really sold in on any of these guys. I think these guys that are backing up, like the Tanner McKees and the Tyler Badgetts and maybe the Will Levises of the world, those guys have had some experience. They're ready to get their shot, and you could trade for them for like a box of candy at this point. Get them on your roster, have control over the contract for a year or two, see if they work. If they don't work, then you draft your quarterback in the 27 class, which is going to be deep. So, like I said, we'll see what the Pittsburgh Steelers do. It looks like Aaron Rodgers is coming back, but to me, it doesn't seem like they really have a plan. And we'll see where that lands for them. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you want Aaron Rodgers back for the 2026 season as the Pittsburgh Steelers QB1? Or do you want them to go into another direction? Let me know in the comments below. Who do you want your future QB1 for the Pittsburgh Steelers to be? and to the next one. Peace.